Hi, fight fans, and welcome back to LL Sports TV. Hope you're all doing well. Former Olympic bronze medalist and former WBC heavyweight champion of the world, Deontay Wilder, made a return to the ring when he took on veteran journeyman Tyrell Herndon. The fight was held over in Wichita, Kansas, which is in the Midwest of America. Hardly what I would call a boxing hotbed. Certainly a far cry from the heady nights of Las Vegas when Deontay Wilder was boxing in his peak years. And I've got to say that this was a fairly low key affair, if I'm being honest. The fight card was of relative poor quality. There seemed like there was quite a few empty seats in the crowd. But anyway, to the fight itself. Wilder started the fight. I know this sounds like a bit of a contradiction, but that was the impression I got at the time. He started cautiously but purposely behind the left jab. He was trying to establish the left jab. You could see that he was throwing the left jab to try and set up the much vaunted right hand. And he showed a decent jab, to be fair, even though he was dropping his right hand, which is a cardinal sin. The coach in me coming out here. But yeah, so he got behind the jab, threw plenty of jabs in the first round. You could see he was looking to land the right hand. Herndon wasn't really doing too much, to be honest. I think he expected an early onslaught, which didn't quite come. But nevertheless, he didn't seem overly ambitious. In the second round, Wilder actually dropped Herndon with a pretty good check left hook. It was a pretty decent punch. Didn't land fully, but it was enough to drop Herndon. And from thereafter, Wilder pretty much took control. Like I said, box behind the jab. I did notice, though, that he did start to get a little bit more erratic with his right hand, a bit right hand happy. And you could see that his timing was off. I think when he tried to step up the intensity, that's when the ring rust started to show a bit more. And he started to get a bit right hand happy. And the fight became a little bit messy at times. Herndon, as I said, not very ambitious, not looking to do too much. In the fourth round, he gave it a little bit of a go. I think he did land a couple of shots on Wilder to no real effect. But Wilder was in control, like I said, behind the jab mainly, throwing the right hand over the top, as Wilder always does. Threw in a couple of left hooks, which he isn't always noted for. But as I said, the longer the fight went on, you were starting to think to yourself, Wilder should really be getting this guy out of there. He was in complete control. He was coming forward. Herndon wasn't offering too much. And Wilder, like I said, looked a bit ring rusty, looked a bit right hand happy. It wasn't quite coming together. He did drop Herndon again in the sixth round. And there was a couple of times when he kind of forced Herndon to the floor. You could see that Herndon was getting tired. He was under the cosh, and you could see it. And any remaining ambition that he had was disintegrating as the rounds went by. And in the seventh round, Wilder, who by this stage looked in a hurry to get it all done, he landed a couple of big right hands. One of them landed flush, the other one partly landed, but it was enough for the referee to step in and stop the fight. So the referee stopped the fight in the seventh round. Got to say, putting the people who are watching, including myself, out their misery, to be honest, because at this stage it was starting to get fairly messy and fairly scrappy and not really what you want to see. So yeah, Wilder makes a successful return to the ring, virtue of a seventh round TKO over Tyrell Herndon. But I've got to say, and if truth be told, this was not an impressive win. I mean, you do have to factor in that Wilder, this was his first fight, after a year out. I mean, in his last fight, he was brutally KO'd by Zhilei Zhang. And there were some people speculating that we might not see him in the ring again. He's had much documented problems, personal problems, injury problems, problems with his mental health. So I guess it's a little unfair to expect Wilder to come in and blow everyone away with his performance. That being said, though, it wasn't what I would call a very good performance. I mean, you also have to say as well that he was coming into this fight with a new trainer. He parted ways with Malik Scott prior to this fight. He's now been trained by Don House and Jay Diaz, who have been long-term fixtures in his corner. So yeah, there are mitigations. However, I still think that he looked less than impressive, if I'm being kind. You know what I mean? So it wasn't a very impressive win for Wilder. He looked ring rusty. His timing was off. He looked a bit right hand happy at times. And I've got to say that if you're any of the top heavyweights out there, watching that performance of Wilder's, they will not be losing any sleep. And I've got to say as well that if I was AJ and his manager, Eddie Hearn, promoter, I hope, well, I would be expecting that the two of them are on the phone today, seeking to get that fight done as soon as possible. Because what I would say is this, is that if they don't make that fight soon, then somebody else is going to get to Wilder and beat him, and then that fight will never happen. Because I do think Wilder is imminently very beatable. It's just a matter if AJ gets a fight before Wilder gets beaten by somebody else. So yeah, in closing, Wilder wins, TKO, 7th round. But as I said before, none of the top heavyweights will be losing any sleep over that performance. I think Wilder probably needs a couple more fights before he could start mentioning any of the top names. He says he wants to fight for world titles. He's got to get back in the ring and show a lot more than he did on this particular night. But anyway, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, please like, share, and subscribe. And hopefully catch you on the next one. Take care. I'm out.